Good evening and welcome to Being Black and Craft, where we don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft beer. This is Angie, the undeniable vixen, your host, and we have a wonderful guest this evening. But let's go ahead and do a little beer news. But let me give you a fun fact first.
It's native to East Africa and a swath of India. And so that's our major ingredient. We source it here, and then we malt our own sorghum. So this is the raw grain, and it's a locked up starch essentially. But in brewing, we need sugars. So what we do is we do our own malting process, where we essentially trick the grain into thinking it's growing by making it wet, giving it the right temperature, and it starts to sprout. And once it begins to sprout, we dry it. Sometimes we roast it in order to make a porter and such. And that's the main ingredient for all of our beers. So at least 70% of our grain bill is malted sorghum that we source and malt here.
Shout out to South Africa and that little tidbit about sorghum and making beer. But let's get into some beer news, or all kinds of news. So if you didn't know, today is National Beer Day. So have a toast. I'm not drinking beer today, but of course, you know, I'm a beer girl. Enjoy what you like. Or if you haven't tried a beer before, go out to a brewery or get something local at a local bottle shop and enjoy. So first off, we have, it looks so delicious. So as I'm scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, loving Jesus, minding my business, loving Jesus like I do, I saw Black Orchid and I saw them making a new seltzer for spring. So this is a peach cobbler seltzer. So they have this available that's going to be bursting with juicy peaches, cinnamon, vanilla flavors, and they are located in California. So if you're in the California area, I believe San Diego or San Francisco. I know that's two different places, but they are in California. Try out their new seltzer. Then I'm going to give this a little bit of a shout out to Crafted for Action, because we are getting underway for Crafted for Action and everything. So a couple of tidbits that I wanted to let y'all know about, as far as like if you're wanting to kind of create your own adventure. One of the things that you're going to be able to do is join them for the bikes and flights. So they're doing bikes and flights where you can basically, you're renting bikes and you're having a beer flight of, if you're industrious or adventurous, I'd rather say adventurous, and wanting to do a little bit of drinking and being able to pedal off some of burning those carbs, because that's, you know, when you're drinking beer, you get kind of into all the carbs and stuff. But that's one of the cool things about Crafted for Action. You can really do things that are available for you to enjoy your drinking as well as exercise. Kind of put those two things together. So that's one thing. This is kind of new. They're going to do a wine dinner. So they're doing a 4-course wine dinner experience at Crafted for Action in Atlanta. So indulge in perfectly paired dishes, expertly selected wines, in an elegant evening of flavor and discovery. Hosted by Billy Harris, Goddess in the Glass. Don't miss this unforgettable dining experience. So I believe this is going to be, they're going to have the wine dinner. They're also going to have the beer dinner, because Al Sharpton usually does that. So make sure you check that out. And that is in the week of Juneteenth. That whole weekend, that whole week, you can just have all these different things going on. And of course, yours truly is going to be doing a online, because I'm not going to be going to Atlanta this year, but I am doing what I always talk about probably in every show, is talking about me being a brand ambassador. And people always want to know, how do you do it? How do you become a brand ambassador? What is it lucrative? As you know, how do you get into it? How do you get all these different goods? Are you able to keep the bottles? Yes, you are. Yes, you can. And how do you handle basically being a I guess, a contractor for beer, wine, and spirits. So I'm going to give you a crash course on that 101 kind of brand ambassador experience. And that's going to be online. So join me, sign up, and I can give you that wonderful masterclass where you will be able to walk away and become a brand ambassador wherever you live. Then with Creature Comforts and Crowns and Hops, because they are still, trying to recover from all the LA, the fires in California. So they went together, they matched up together, Creature Comforts and Crowns and Hops, to make a beer. And on April 12th, they're going to do a release party. I'm getting tongue-tied today. They're going to do a release party today on April 12th. So let me see where my notes. So they're going to do it at Strange Hotels in the Courtyard between 2 and 6. Then at Link's Records in the tap room from 6 to 10, and food is going to be available. So both brands share strong ties to the city of Altadena, and their goal is to draw awareness to the generations impacted by the Eden Canyon fires, as well as the newest members of the incredible community. So that's what they're going to be doing in the LA, California area. Then, if you indulge, no judgment here, on 420, you have things to do, and you just happen to be in the Chicago area. It's Blends, the day party with Moore's Beer. So DJ Self-Born is flying all the way in from Miami to do a shift, to shift the frequency. So they got Delta 9 infused drinks on deck, including Moore's Mango Tree Tea, sip slow, vibe heavy. And yes, Diversity House wings you love, smacked with a 420 inspired sauce. Get ready. So the tickets are available on Eventbrite. So if you're in the Chicago area on April 20th, 420 from 1 to 6, get to Diversity House and get some blends. Then we have Brockton. If you're over in that neck of the woods, they're doing a paint party. So the first ever R&B sing-along paint night is here. The food is going to be incredible, the experience unmeasurable, and of course, we're bringing back the ultimate experience as always. Come and join a unique night at a newly renovated Brockton Beer with vibes, music, and creativity come together for an unforgettable evening. So get your tickets before they sell out. Then we want to give a shout out to friend of the show, Jeremiah. I've seen a lot of people who have won the Michael Jackson Foundation Award, and Jeremiah, who is here in the DFW area, is a recipient of the Nearest Green Scholarship for distilling. So Jeremiah was born and raised in Lafayette, Indiana, where he fell in love with the beverage world while studying chemical engineering at Purdue. Beginning with a lifelong love of coffee, he went to work for several roles at a local roastery and coffee shop before delving into distilling and home brewing. After graduating in 2020, he moved to DFW, beginning his professional brewing career and deepened his love for the craft community. Now pivoting into the spirits industry, he hopes to bring a cross-disciplinary approach to his current role and continue to promote lesser heard voices in the industry. So kudos and congratulations to Jeremiah. And that's it for all the news. So let me go ahead and bring up my guests. Hello, hello.
Hey, hey, hey.
I'm so glad to see you. So let me first say, let me make sure that I'm pronouncing your name correctly, because I think I spelled it wrong. Shamaya?
Oh, Shama.
Shama.
M-A-H.
Shama. Okay. Yeah, I think I fat fingered and left the M off. But it's so I have been, let me fan out a little bit. So
no.
This I have to thank a friend, because I like I said during the beer news, I am a beer girl, And a friend of mine, I have bottle shares. So I had a bottle share for, I believe for a birthday. And my friend who does not drink beer, doesn't know anything about beer, is not even trying to find out about beer. She's like, hey, let me bring you this. Here you go. I
Right.
said, what is
I'm
this?
I'm 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 with your friend because I don't know beer. I don't understand it either.
So I said, what is this? I said, it's pink. What is this? And so I was like, okay. And then she was like, it's good. And she was like, this is my bottle, but I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna
That's
let you
love.
take it on. Yes. Because after I tasted it, I was like, ooh, this is this is nice. This is
Real nice,
nice.
real nice.
So thank you so much for joining me and being able to start sharing with our audience about Mur Mur and the coconut rum. So first, before I get into the rum, I want to talk about you. So are you
Okay.
a Dallas native?
No. Well, okay. Well, let's give do praise where it's due. Who is your friend so I can tell her thank you myself? Like who was
Roz,
it?
Rosalind.
Ross. Thank you, Miss Rosalind. Do I know
Ro-
Rosalind?
you might, Rosalind Bryant.
Well, girl, if I know you, hey, girl. And if I don't, thanks, girl. I appreciate you spreading that good murmur love, honey. That's the only way we really gonna grow.
Mhm.
One wonderful person at a time. So shout out to Miss Roz. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yes.
I am not a Dallas native. I was actually born in Zimbabwe, in Harare, Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. And my family moved to the United States in 1987. My parents are ministers, so we went to Oral Roberts in Tulsa, Oklahoma first,
Mhm.
and then moved to Texas after they finished school to start a church here in Arlington.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've been here pretty much the rest, all of my upbringing and stuff like that, but I'm not native to Dallas.
So, with you being a church kid,
Hmm.
is it all the things that they say are true? Like
What part?
being wild and just
Um,
like out there,
You know what? I
coming back.
hate to be so boring. I hate to be so boring. I'll be 43 this year.
Okay.
And so, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of four. So I was not given the luxury of being wild. And if you
Mhm.
know anything about African Christians, like we love God for real. Okay. So and I don't want to go to hell. So no, I kind of I kept it on the straight and narrow to the best of my ability, and in my older years, I could take accountability for my own actions, but I was never really a wild child. No.
So how was this conversation with your family? Um, you getting into the rum business? With how was that?
It's well, probably the way that you would expect, to be honest, probably the way that you would expect. Not met with too much support or enthusiasm. But I have always been of the persuasion that, and I had my own challenges, initially, walking into it. My ex-husband and I are actually partners in this. And
Mhm.
yeah, so, I had to really find my why. You know what I mean? And I've always been of the persuasion that God can be used anywhere and he has to have representation everywhere, you know?
Mhm.
And so if you can't have light, if you're not in dark spaces, you can't recognize that light, right? I
Uh-huh.
think there's a lot of not really misinformation. I think whatever reservations people may have towards alcohols is probably really warranted, either from their own personal experiences or familial challenges or whatever that may be. And so I think it's really important, number one, to not downplay that those challenges are true, but to also recognize that everyone doesn't drink for those reasons, right? Alcohol can have a really beautiful, rich culture that stems from your family history, if you're Italian or Spanish or even African. And it's really understanding why you drink and drinking accountably versus responsibly.
Mhm.
And, making sure that you are in a great mental, emotional, spiritual space before you consume really anything, right? Anything. You
Right.
have to have accountability in any consumption. So, to answer your question, I think my mother is still really praying that I can make it into the pearly gates when it's my turn. You know, but me and Jesus are good. Me and the Lord are cool.
Right.
Like we like we're okay. But it has, I think
And
that is challenging for them for sure.
That's definitely a conversation with I think I've had with my parents as well. Uh, being my mother is from Louisiana, so she was drinking very young. So I never
Mm.
just rushed into drinking. But having a good understanding is like being a responsible drinker is really important, and knowing that not doing anything in excess
Yeah.
is
And I
really
think
important.
sometimes we put like child, let's not go down this rabbit hole, girl, because we can, okay? But I think a lot of times people have what is the word that I'm looking for? Apprehensions towards something that they may actually struggle with, right?
Hmm.
9 times out of 10, we put so many, uneducated restrictions on things from a spirituality standpoint, when I think that when you talk about who God is and who he should be to you, it comes from a relationship perspective versus a religious perspective, because
Hmm.
we all know that religion will fail you. But if you have a relationship with God,
Right.
then you set your own metrics within yourself and you can determine for you, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. I know a lot of people that don't drink, and I don't always drink either because that's just not the space that I'm in. But I don't condemn anybody if that's what they choose to do. I think you
Hmm.
have to be at peace within yourself and at peace with the relationship that you have with God, so that you're not too worried, so busy being worried about what somebody else is doing, because you're
Okay.
making sure that you got your own self together.
Hmm.
So
Sweep
I'll
your own
digress
front.
on that.
Sweep,
Right?
sweeping your own front in your
Right,
own
right,
front door.
right. I
Yeah.
got listen, I got a mop vac and a iRobot and a regular Dyson. I'm
Right.
vacuuming and sweeping. It's clean over here. She's trying.
So tell me, what does murmur? Because I was just like, that's an interesting name. What is the significance in it?
Remember, it's just rum run backwards.
Really?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought it was gonna
That's
be
it.
deep. Okay.
Listen. Yeah.
It don't have to be. It don't have to
So good,
be.
you gotta say it backwards and twice. Listen. Yeah.
Yes. That is
Hmm.
so great. Okay.
Hmm.
So um the complexity of the coconut rum. Um, how did you get into even thinking about doing rum or even doing spirits? What was the light bulb that said, you know what, I think that I want to do something and I want to do a rum compared to, you could have did vodka, you could have did tequila because
Yeah.
tequila is getting really hot, really big and
Yeah.
popular. Why did you choose rum?
So I would love to. I cannot take all of the credit. Like I said, I was married at the time. My partner is Scott Kinshin. Shout out to Scott. We
Mhm.
had a friend that owned a vodka line, and so he reached out and said, "Hey, I need some help with marketing. I'm a hairstylist. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I write music. I do children's books for the accessibility community, special needs community. My oldest son is overcoming autism, and so I'm constantly doing a lot of different things. But Scott really fell in love with the industry. So we helped our first friend kind of get that together, and then transitioned over to another friend where we actually had equity in that vodka. And so then it was like, Scott was, this is my thing, this is my gym. I was like, all right, cool. I'll support you with what we got to do. So we set up luxury distilled beverages at the time. And I like bourbons and whiskeys and
Mhm.
tequilas and those things. And, we learned very quickly, okay, that you have to be able to have some pretty heavy capital to go the bourbon whiskey route if you want something that's sustainable.
Mhm.
And so then we considered doing a tequila. We were already kind of had our feet in some vodka, so that wasn't even on a thought process. And thank God we didn't do the tequila route, because right about then, like, George Clooney had Casamigos, and then everybody got into tequila.
Yeah.
And so, we're like, well, what if we do like an aged rum, because they finish it off in bourbon barrels? It could kind of be similar to what it is that we enjoy already.
Mhm.
And we found the largest rum and the oldest rum aggregator in the world in Amsterdam, with access to over 250 different kinds of rums, right? So first we were gonna do like
Mm.
a buttercream rum, and I was like, ugh.
Mhm.
And I'm not really even a big coconut person, to be honest with you.
I'm
It's
not
like, why don't
either.
we try a coconut rum? And so at that time, I had back fat goals. I was drinking a lot of coconut water. So I was like, okay, let's make sure there's coconut water in there, so we can hydrate while we celebrate. And each time the samples came back, they would come back pink. And we were like, why is this pink? And our master distiller was like, well, natural coconuts, when they oxidize, it turns pink, similar to when an apple oxidizes, it turns brown. So we were like, oh, he's like, we can filter it out. I was like, we're gonna leave that pink.
Wow.
We're going to leave that. We're gonna leave that pink. And so again, we had access to so many different rums from a lot of regions, but we really liked the blend that we came up with from Guyana, Barbados, and the Dominican Republic as our base. And then put that coconut water in there. We also have a little bit of coconut liqueur, which is where some of that sweetness comes from. But that smoothness that you really like the fact that there's not a burn, and then we wanted for it to have enough high enough ABV that you could really enjoy it on its own,
Mm,
without turning it into like a mixer. And that's what kind of differentiates us from any other coconut rum that's in the market right now. And God helped us, and we pulled it together and came up with this beautiful girl, and it's doing really well.
it has an effervescence to it where it's, and I think that's what made me so intrigued by it. The effervescence that it didn't, I guess you could add something to it, but it seemed like it would take away from it. I'm sure you can do crafted cocktails with it, but just drinking it on a rocks with, one rock is sufficient.
Yeah,
It's a very approachable rum.
thank you.
Like you said, not having that burn, because as I did, as I say in most of my demos, I work for a company where the portfolio is 250. They have 250 up under the portfolio, and it is, the major part of it is rum. So I've
Mm.
had quite my share.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Okay.
so
I
this,
love that. I love that you come from a like a very educated perspective in terms of rhymes. That's awesome.
yeah, it's something that I'd never really really thought that I would just like have on have in my arsenal,
Yeah.
to have that, someone says that they're not really a drinker, but they want to have a
Hmm.
little cocktail. Because I have people that, they want to have the umbrellas and everything. I would serve them this and
Hmm.
just be fine with it. And I
It's a
think,
little vacation in a bottle.
mhm, as I take a sip. So you do a lot.
Mm.
Um, like you said, you're a serial entrepreneur. How do you get that work life balance? Especially, you're working, you have your child, and you're doing all these different things. You have all these different streams of income. How do you get time to make time for yourself, and as
You
well
know,
as
that
people
is that's an ongoing effort. But I
okay.
will say, I have two boys. My oldest is Colin. He just turned 15, and then my baby boy is Kingston. He is 9. I just adore them so, so much. And one of the things I'm really proud about their father and I is we were really intentional on building a good co-parenting relationship
Mhm.
and making sure that we are one family in just two households.
Yes.
And so the way our custody case is set up, although I'm traveling quite a bit for work, I find my times. It is busy, but it doesn't have to be crazy all the time. I try to listen to my soul and my spirit and my body when I'm tired. Um, so
Mm.
you don't find time, you make time. And
Mm.
I think that's for anything, because there's never any time. You have to make it and
Yeah.
be intentional about saying, in this moment, I'm gonna chill. Otherwise, life is gonna let you hit that good brick wall. You
Yes.
can either do it of your own volition, or you can do it out of necessity. And I have learned I don't want to have to do it. I want to be able to still want to do it, and be grateful
Right.
for those breaks that I give myself. So I find my silver linings. I create them.
Okay. That's something that I think we as women struggle with, and that's a challenge, an ongoing challenge, as you said, because I hear the voice, and there's, oh, hold on, what? Let me do this one last thing. I got,
One more thing. One more thing.
and then you're like you said, okay, now I can't get out the bed. Oh my gosh. So yeah,
Right.
taking those opportunities and listening to that voice is really, really
Yeah, it's super
important.
important. And I think it's also really important to recognize, why do you feel like you can't take a break? Like, why do you feel like you have to keep going? Like, what's the meter? What's the metrics? What's the
Mhm.
goal? Right? Because my Bible tells me trouble is always going to be there, you know. So there's never going to be a moment where you're not needed, or there's something that is required of you, or And so
Right,
you have to recognize that you are just as much, if not the greatest asset that you have. Like, you are your mental space, your mental wellness, your emotional capacity, your physical capacity, like all of the things that we do to help ourselves are because we really are our own greatest asset. And if you're not good, nothing and anyone else around you can be good. And that's not you failing. That's not you shirking your responsibilities. That is loving the things that God has trusted you with enough to know that if you're not all right to accomplish them at maximum level, that you deserve the opportunity to recharge. There's nothing that goes 100% without being recharged. Everything needs a minute to power up. It's okay.
right, right. Absolutely.
It's okay.
Yes, yes, we do. Needing a minute to power up. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if Murmur Coconut Rum was a song, what would it be? Or what
Oh,
style? Okay.
what genre would it be?
Hmm.
You know what? That's tough. I think she's transitional. I think you would assume that it would be, Caribbean or islandy or what have you. But
Hmm.
she's such a vibe that it's transitional. She's kind of a transcendent voice, you know what I mean? So depending on what it is that what the environment is, you could definitely get a good relaxing Sade energy from her, you know.
Okay.
You could definitely get some Beanie Man out of that if that's where
Okay.
you're at. A little touch of Rihanna if that's the energy that we're on, you know. The guys love it, you know. So it could hit you with some Ti and some Jeezy. You never know. It just depends on where it's at. But either way, she gonna show up and sound good. She's gonna show up as
Okay.
like, she is not defined by any specific genre. She's just good music.
Okay.
Just good
Very
music.
melodic. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So I know that you're in it's at least here in the DFW Metroplex. Um, it's available where you can just pick it up. So
Mhm.
where else are you distributing out of?
So we are also in Florida. We're in California. We are in Nevada, Kansas, Oklahoma. We are in DC and Maryland, Louisiana
Mm.
as well. So we're in 9 markets right now. And we're also available to ship online. So if we're not where you are, you can purchase at murmurrum.com through one of our retail partners, and we ship.
That is amazing. Um, how were you able to um, get that distribution out? Because I know that that is with people that I talk to in the industry. Distribution is one of the hurdles. Trying to get it out there and find someone that's going to, I guess, advocate for you to make sure that you get it out to those areas. How was that for you?
God helped us all the way. He did that for
Mhm.
us. And I don't mean that in a cliche way, like literally he did. When we first launched in the market, we were with a different distributor. Right now we're with Southern Glazers. So we have national distribution. We're able to turn on pretty much any market. It's just being wise and making sure we have the support in those
Okay.
markets. But essentially, when we launched, we just started taking that market share. And eventually Southern was like, who is this brand? So we got into
Mhm.
Nick and Sam's, AT&T Stadium, a lot of really big accounts in the DFW area. And they were like, who are these people? Why are they taking up our brand's market share? So they
Mhm.
actually pursued and courted us.
Okay.
Um, right. Yes, to get that distribution. And I will say, one of the things that I have learned, just for anyone who is interested in possibly getting into the industry, just because you have distribution does not necessarily mean that you have points of distribution. That does not mean that you're fully in the market and that they're actually going to be going 10 toes down for you and they're working specifically for you. And that's just because, like, similar to what you say, your company has over 250 brands that are underneath their portfolio. So imagine if my sales rep has 8,000,
Mm-hmm.
wines and spirits in their within their portfolio. So you got to be a little bit of a squeaky wheel, and you got to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're like, hey, 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 don't forget me. When you're starting, you want to take over, be the king and the queen of your area, of your domain. And really, because Texas is such a humongous market within
Yeah.
Texas alone, like I think it's like the seventh largest GDP, globally. It's something crazy like that for the
Mm-hmm.
state of Texas in and of itself. And so I think the assumption is you do want to have great distribution partners. In Texas, that's the law. We're not able to sell on our own. You have to go through distribution.
Mm-hmm.
So the greatest thing about having a distributor is when someone orders, you know that your relationship is solid and that they have the capacity to make sure that your retailers or your restaurants or hotels or whatever are able to get access to the product.
Okay.
And that's yeah, and that's the greatest thing. But you still have to do it. You still got to have boots on the ground on your own. Like I do a lot of tastings by myself. Scott does some as well, and that's because I enjoy being out in the market. Nobody can sell it better than I can, you know,
Right.
and be able to really, do that groundwork. So every company still has to build their own internal, sales team or sales force or what have you, and
Mm-hmm.
work in tandem and collaboration and cooperation with your distributor. Because sometimes your distributor does not have capacity to get you into all those places. So we still have to do the work.
Okay. Okay. That's good
Yeah.
information. That's good information to know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
But we
and
do have really great, great, great account managers. And that's just because, again, once we realize that just because you got distribution don't mean that you're automatically in all these places. It's still relationship building. And I think
mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that I really, really enjoy doing is building relationships with our Southern reps as well, empowering them to be successful, helping them to remember to keep us top of mind when opportunities come up. But yeah, you don't get to sit back and just chill just because you have distribution. That's not a thing.
All right. So, is there outside of the AT&T Stadium? Is there another place that you would like to see? Well, I'm sure everywhere. I know that's going to be everywhere. But is there another place that you would like to see Murmur in within the next, I guess, 3 to 5 years?
Like in Texas. So okay, so with AT&T Stadium, what's amazing about that is we got into the legends, right? And so any new stadium that comes out that has legends, we have the opportunity to foster a relationship and get into. So we're in the Star, we're in the Lombardi restaurants. It's such a great partnership for us. We have some really great points of distribution. We just got into all the hotels Zaza's. And we're a part of the Hyatt restaurant, Hyatt Hotels Change Starts Here initiative. So we're doing really, really well. I think for
Mhm.
us, it's just to continue to keep growing, to expand our current points of distribution. Obviously, we'd love to be in all the stadiums. We'd love to be, you know, in all the big box locations and really close down and lock in on all of the retailers or what have you. And I think for us, it's just slow and steady is winning this race
Mhm.
for us. So
Okay.
yeah, we want to be everywhere is the answer to that
Of
question.
course, of course. We want you to be
Open the door, let
everywhere.
your girl in. Let your girl in. We want to come.
So other than, let me make sure I put the bottle back up so people can see because we are live. So other than this coconut rum, was there any thought of anything else being a part of your line, or is
Yes, we're very
that
thank that's
something
a
we can
great
talk
question.
about?
Yes. So we are developing an espresso under the
Ooh.
Murmur line. Girl, and it's good, darling. It's delicious. And so we hope to do that by the end of the year. And then we want to have a premium XO, finished off in bourbon barrels like we originally discussed. And so, like I was saying, when we first built luxury distilled beverages, we wanted it to be like a baby Diageo. So essentially to
Mhm.
have a premium spirit in each category. So Murmur is our first offering in the rum category. And the goal is to have a premium, tequila, a premium
Mhm.
whiskey, premium vodka, premium gin. And so we build a really solid portfolio. So that's the goal of LDB. But yeah, they're coming under Murmur is the espresso and the XO for sure.
Okay, okay, that sounds good. Now you mentioned
Hmm.
gin.
Hmm.
What is I guess when I think about gin, because I am a newly, I guess, a person that has come to enjoy gin, which everyone also thinks about is Seagrams, and that's it. And the college and a
Or
bad
Hendrick or
college
Hendrix.
experience. Yes. So our relationship with gin, do you
Mm.
think that that will be a little bit of a dance to get people to enjoy the gin, with the juniper being usually is what people don't care for as much. Um, what do you think would be a good, I guess, tag or a good suggestion for gin for people to try it, to be more open to it?
Well, sitting here being somebody who launched a coconut rum, I don't think that there's any limits to anything. Like honestly. And to be 100% fair with you, that isn't a space we've really delved into just yet to see what
Okay.
our formulations would be and what the right mixes would be and um how to really pull that off. But I can tell you what I know to be true, that people think they don't like something until they've had it made correctly and then they do love it. So
Mm,
I am a living witness, and that bottle on your desk is a living
yeah,
witness.
yeah,
We don't
yeah.
necessarily do coconut or coconut rubs, but we are killing this murmur, okay? So
Okay.
it's just done right. And I think a lot of times it's people's just education of on things and really trying to understand flavor profiles and like why you're drinking and how to enjoy something, like how do flavors work well together,
Mhm,
how do things mix and give you like your best possible experience, you know what I mean? And so it depends on, are we talking to somebody that just wants to have a good time and get lit and they don't care and you can put a bunch of different kind of mixes in there and as long as there's a little kick to it they're good, or are
mhm,
we talking to somebody that really wants to understand the process and enjoy the flavors and let them unravel themselves and really have an experience with it? So ultimately, both are our target market. Essentially, I think it's just in the matter of the way that we present it, and then making sure that that juice matches
mhm.
all the good things that we're saying about it.
So my last thing I wanted to see, how would you describe to a new customer murmur without using the words coconut or rum?
So I would say that it is a Caribbean blend that is very refreshing, that has natural waters in it. I would also say that it is a high proof at 30% ABV, but it is still very refreshing. I would describe it as a vacation in a bottle. I would describe
Mhm,
it as soon as you open it, you're on your favorite beach again. I would say that it will elevate any cocktail that you have it in, no matter what the cocktail is. It doesn't matter if that cocktail is created with tequila, vodka, whiskey, doesn't matter. She goes in there and she's gonna make it do what it do.
okay.
And that at the end of the day, you'll be really surprised, pleasantly surprised at the experience that you have. And if you're not initially pleasantly surprised, just give it a second because you will be
Mhm.
eventually.
Okay. Well,
That's
that
a good
sounds
question. I'm
delicious.
gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that. Would you try it based on what I just said? Would you
It
try it?
sounds delicious. When
Okay, okay, good. 'Cause
have you said vacation, the last time you were on the beach? I'm there
yes,
because
it's a
that's what
vacation
I'm.
in a bottle. Open it and smell it first, baby. Let that beach, let that ocean, let that Turks and Caicos and Jamaica and DR flow right over you, darling. And let
Yes,
let that happen first and then taste it.
yes.
And I think you'll be happy with it.
Well, I really enjoyed and loved talking to you. I mean, this has been
Same.
so great. I know that you are a busy woman, but thank you
Hmm.
for sharing with this delicious coconut rum murmur.
Yes,
And
yes.
it is
And I would
available
be, I
where?
would be, it is available everywhere. And I'd be extremely remiss if I did not talk to you and your audience about the purpose behind our product.
Yes.
As I previously stated, my oldest son is overcoming autism. And so we created the Overcomer Foundation.
Mm,
where our purpose is to support other groups and families that are advocating for accessibility equity. And so that's everything from autism to Downs to limb differences to hearing impairment, visual impairments. This year, every dollar from $1, excuse me, from every bottle that we sell goes back to the foundation. And I am working to partner with other spirits brands and really, push to make sure that there's a purpose behind what it is that we're doing. And I'll be 100% with you, Miss Angie. I believe that the favor that God has put over us is because the purpose behind our product is so much greater than what our product is. So many doors are being
mm,
opened so that we can speak to, a need that's out there, and then also be a bridge for resources if someone has challenges with alcohol, or obviously there's a
mhm,
lot of negative connotation in terms of special needs and drinking, and being
mhm,
able to say, and I always say, but if we don't build bridges to get to our resources, we're not enemies of one another. We have to work cooperatively together. So if someone's going to start over here, then let me have a pathway for them to get to you. And that is the biggest, most important, greatest piece that I'm so, so super proud of. And that's what keeps us going in tumultuous times. And when we don't know what tomorrow holds, we know that God does.
mhm.
And He's never left us hanging before. He's not going to start now. So I tell people all the time, we're all overcoming something. I don't know what it takes for you to get up out of your bed every morning and be great, whatever great looks like that day.
Mhm.
And so when you support us, we're supporting ourselves. And so that's it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, and please share the name of your, because you are a writer. The name of your book, the book that you've created as well.
Yes. Yes. So it's called The I Cans, and every character has a special need, but their special needs are superpowers. So again, it still ties all in together. I am a fierce advocate for our overcomers. We're currently working on music and hope to get it animated. And even then, Murmur will be a very proud supporter of what we're doing in terms of being able to raise money for resources for sped departments and public schools. For us, we couldn't afford private therapy with Colin. Being an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
our insurance didn't cover it. So I'm very, very grateful and passionate to our public school teachers. And so we fight for that. When we start pulling resources together, it's to
Mhm.
see what can we do to support our teachers that are working in our special education departments. And so again, all of it all ties together.
That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that and giving that support, because people are needing that support, and knowing that there is someone that's advocating. I mean, you're in it, on ground level, but knowing that there are other people that are going through that same thing is really helpful to know that I'm not alone.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
www.we-overcome.org is our website, excuse me, for our foundation. And we're not alone. We really, really are not. We're in this together. And sometimes you got to share. And when you can't share, just trust that if God puts a random person in your life that starts speaking to the thing that you're going through, that you can trust that space and you can believe that he's aware and he's looking out for us. And so, it's the, like I said, it really is a driving force that keeps us going when things get difficult.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And
You're
this
welcome.
is just such a wonderful story. And I really appreciate you sharing that with the audience.
Thank
And
you for having me.
make sure that you check out Murmur, because it's that bottle is doing a whole lot of different things. It has a whole lot of different facets to it. So make sure that y'all do that. If it's not available, you can always get it online.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And please tag us, and thank you in advance for your support. And if you mean it, please keep us in your prayers. And we're praying for
Absolutely.
y'all. And yeah, so it was wonderful to meet you, Angie. Thank you so much for having
Thank you so much. So let me go ahead
me.
and play us out.